Free co-working today.
Ah,
Kernville co-work.
awesome.
This thing is it's about 5 feet tall, and the goal was, and so I had it up there for the weekend so that just to kind of capture people's attention, especially the free and the big bold letters makes people wonder like, huh, what is this thing that's free? Um, and then the goal is to have like maybe we're thinking maybe Thursdays or something, have one day a week where we're offering free free co-working day, kind of like a co-working meetup type of thing. And so we're going to put that down on the boulevard for that to kind of drive that. But one thing I didn't do is I didn't realize it until the second day, which was a lot slower, that I needed to have like a tablet there or something to capture MailChimp subscribers.
Yeah. And I did start the recording, so we're catching everybody up here. But this was the Whiskey Flats Festival, the big festival in town that you did this past weekend, and you did manage to capture some people's interest from that event, which is cool. In part from the sandwich board, and I want to ask you a little bit about that sandwich board and how you did that. But what you're saying is that you kind of realized a little bit partway through that you needed kind of a better way to start capturing interest and information, right?
Yeah, or at least having a way to kind of continue to do that drip marketing
Mm.
and keep their interest. Uh, that was something I think I could have done better at, and just having a tablet ready to sign up for the mailing list would have been good there.
Gotcha. Okay.
So yeah, and we have started. We've started doing kind of similar to the drip marketing campaign that you have, Tony. We started doing something similar for Kernville Cowork. So now, over the course of the first 4 or 5 weeks that somebody subscribed to the email list, we're kind of just slowly, giving them little bits of information to kind of help grow their understanding of what co-working is, and what it does for the community, and what it does for the coworker. So that's something else that we've been working on.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I feel like when I hear you talking about this, I'm reminded of many times that I've been kind of involved in similar, like big name events, like those kinds of headliner type things, and feeling so often like I left a lot on the table, or just like there are a lot of things that could have done better. But I think ultimately, even when I have done those things well, that a lot of times I'm disappointed by the conversion rate directly to customers, because these events end up being more about awareness building than direct conversion. So just the fact that people know that this exists, it's planted in their brain. Kernville's not the hugest city in the world, so I imagine you'll have other ways of getting to those people eventually, and this impression will help plant the seed for when they hear about you again in a couple of months or whatever.
Yeah, and that was really the main intent of this weekend. I went into this weekend fully expecting that there's a likelihood that we may not get any. I wasn't expecting any member signups this weekend, and we may not get any great leads, but what we will get is a lot of great impressions. And when because a lot of these people were from out of town, and so when they're thinking about when they're going to vacation or where they're going to vacation, that might pop into their minds and be like, oh wait, Kernville had that co-working place, maybe we should go check that place out. And so that was really what it was about. It was about kind of making an impression, letting the community know that we're here, letting the outside world know that we're here, and so on. So that's that was really what it was intended for, and so I think it accomplished that. There's it's really easy to go back or to look back and say like, oh, we could have done this better, we could have done that better. But I think with the amount of time that we had available to us and the amount of stuff we were doing, I think we did okay.
Yeah, totally. Well, okay, cool, awesome. Do you have people that you had like memorable conversations with? Are there, kind of names that stick out in your mind or faces?
Yeah, I had several, a lot of members of the local community came by, especially like the business community. And I don't know, some of these businesses may not necessarily be looking for co-working space, but they are kind of large forces in the community, and important voices in the community, and they're kind of the voices that the community will follow, and to see them get really excited about this and really get behind it, I think is going to, well, and they're also very, very well networked with kind of our key demographic. So basically we're looking at, for this space, I'm really wanting to sell more of a lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the work hard, play hard, be productive, and then, go out, be productive all day and then take a long lunch and go fly fishing, or let's all go out after work and go kayaking,
Yeah.
whitewater kayaking, or maybe we go kite surfing, or mountain biking, or all these things that Kernville has to offer. So the people that were getting really excited about it is like the owners of the brewery that's just down the street, who they're Olympic whitewater kayakers and have this massive network of adventures that they're connected to, or the owners of all the adventure companies around, that really, our business, Kernville Cowork, is really working to promote them, and to see them get really excited. And they're going to start telling their networks and telling their marketing to their customers that, hey, rather than coming up and staying for 3 days, why don't you come work and stay for 10 days or 20 days?
Yes.
And then maybe eventually that might even convert into somebody who wants to move here full time. And that was a large part of what we're trying to do is to try and bring in, people, those highly skilled, in demand, workers that maybe don't want to live in the city stacked on top of other people. Maybe they want to, live out here where there's adventure and clean air and water and all that. So,
yeah, I mean, it's such a, it's basically like a chamber of commerce or a economic development conversation, right? You're just trying to bring those kinds of voices and
Yep. And I spent last week, I presented to our Chamber of Commerce. I presented to several of our other kind of civic organizations and economic development organizations that we have around here. So there's definitely a lot of energy from the community and from the business community. And everybody I've talked to wants to do everything they can to help make this successful. So that's a really good feeling, is to see that, going into this thing.
Nice. Okay. And in terms of follow-ups, what kind of the next step for the folks you have been in touch with?
So most of the people that, a good chunk of the ones that, I talked to and I gave tours with were from around the valley. So I can find ways of getting back in touch with them and continuing to keep them engaged. I also, especially once we get get them onto the mailing list, I think one of the things that we need to work out is what is a community looking for in terms of the events calendar? Because there's so many different options. We've got a great space that we can use for trainings or workshops or classes or whatever. And it could be, like a, I'm blanking on that. The program that you're piloting right now. Yeah, it could be something like that. It could be, it really, but it needs to be driven by the community and what the community is looking for. So I think trying to work with these all these different stakeholders and say, okay, what does a community want? Because I think even the other businesses are really excited and they say, well, we don't necessarily want we're not looking for a place to sit down and work, but we want to be a part of the community, and we want to we want whatever you have to offer. I mean, they're thirsty for it. So, what is it that we can offer and make use of that space that's going to be beneficial for the community? I think is the next thing that I want to make sure we get right.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I think when you start to get to that level, I think what you end up wanting to do is really zero in on who you're talking to and get to know them specifically and what's alive for them. Because so many times, we have our own impression of kind of how we want things to go, but then we can't necessarily get someone else to be excited about that. They're going to be excited about whatever they're excited about. And then, a lot of times whatever that is can be retrofit back to what we have, but it takes a little bit to kind of meet them where they're at, figure out where they're, what's the action that they're ready to take tomorrow, and then say, okay, that's how this fits in, back here. So like the people you just described maybe don't need workspace, which is a bummer, but they do want to contribute, which is awesome. So what are they excited about? Like, what's their industry? What problem are they trying to solve? Or like, what are they proud of that they want to show off?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think that is for them? I'm hungry to get like specific about somebody,
Okay. So, I think, there's several different categories. I think one category that that might be a good place to start is, especially because I want to, back when I'm saying I want to, this to be kind of a lifestyle, that means I want to have really great relationships with the adventure companies in the area. And a lot of these, we've got probably 7 different rafting companies in close proximity. And most of them are just guys who, are just, river rats that have been, rafting since forever, and they decided that they wanted to keep doing it. So they should probably turn it into a business so they can keep doing it. And they mostly care about, going out and meeting people and being on the water and having a good time. So their business savvy and their marketing savvy and their web savvy isn't quite up to par. And they they scrape by with what they have, but trying to they're in an interesting position because they don't know they don't know what they don't know. They don't know what they what they need to do to get to the next level, or what they need to do to to attract that outside those that traffic and stuff like that. Things they can do to automate their business, things they can do to just improve the efficiency or the marketing or the web presence. A lot of them have very 1990s style web pages still. So I think there's a big opportunity for some of these companies to really up their game, and what'll happen with that is that if they up their game, if they up their web presence, their media presence, then it makes Kernville look that much more attractive, which makes Kernville Cowork look that much more attractive. And so it kind of becomes this kind of synergistic thing that I think we could capture. But that same kind of story plays out a lot in the Valley. There's definitely a lot of businesses that that don't know what they need to do. I was talking to one business, and she was describing all the issues she had, and I said, "Oh, well, sounds like you need a CRM." She's like, "Well, what's a CRM?" Like, just stuff like that. There's definitely a lot of opportunities to kind of help them, level up, their businesses and their processes and whatnot.
This is huge. Yeah, this is great. I mean, what an angle, right? Because if that's such a significant industry in your city, then great. Then that means you've got a really nice niche. How do those people get along with each other? Are they supportive? Are they cordial? Are they competitive?
There's a couple outliers. Most of them get along really well. Most of them, understand that they're all, they're all working together. I mean, at the end of the day, especially like you say the 7 rafting companies, they realize at the end of the day that if one of them, if the guide is stuck in a bad situation on the river, that the other companies are going to come help out. So they need to have a good amount of respect and all that. There's occasionally a little bit of drama, but I think in general, I see all these guys go out for drinks together, so they generally get along fairly well, I think.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking, if you're able to get one of these people to sign on board to, do a talk, for example, to do a show and tell or a feedback session, something like that, would the other folks show up for it, or would somebody want to share what they're doing, that kind of thing. So it sounds like there is openness to that, which is good.
Yeah, and it kind of goes back and forth. I mean, because they're friendly, but on the other hand, it's not a very large pie that they're all taking slices from. So, kind of helping each other get a competitive edge, it might not be something that they're super interested in. But I can maybe have that conversation and see what were you saying?
Yeah, well, now I'm wondering, perhaps the conversation becomes about making the pie bigger.
Yeah.
So,
that makes sense.
So really, actually, this is totally the answer. Who like, if someone's going to put their dollars to Kernville for an adventure, or they're going to put it to another city, what would the other city be? And like, whatever the answer to that is, then make them the boogeyman. And then we say, okay, now how can we collectively all get better at what we do so that we bring more business to Kernville for to rise the tide and lift all the boats, so to speak. Hilarious pun. Yeah. Do you think that could be an angle that would resonate?
Yeah. And I think that's something, and I actually, one of my coworkers is heavily involved in the Kernville Chamber of Commerce, so I might pick his brain about that. Yeah, I'm looking over here because he's sitting right over there. But it's what I'll do, I'll go and have some conversations with some of these adventure companies and see what their take is on that. I think that's definitely something that I think the Valley's really starting to understand, and I think if Kernville Co-work can be a driving force behind that would, or at least a support behind that, I think that would definitely go a long ways in terms of creating goodwill.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it seems like there's no downside to it, to put yourself out there as a visible supporter of the local economy and that kind of stuff. So I feel like there's definitely a way to make this work in a fun way. I'm just picturing, even if it's just a simple show and tell event, where you get somebody to show off or to talk about their thinking, somebody who's passionate about this, about growing the city's economy, that kind of thing. To kind of get things started. And I think you just need to find the one person who's like a good example of this. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's these folks, like someone from this company that you were just describing, where they want to be active in the community. Awesome. Let's do a little gathering and have you guys, talk a little bit about what you've been up to, what you're working on, what you're struggling with, and then see what the interest is like to for people to come and attend an event like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a good way to go. I think I've been talking to the Chamber of Commerce. We offered to host one of their gatherings, one of their meetings, and then host a mixer party afterwards, so that the members can kind of hang around and kind of mingle afterwards. But I think the follow up to that would be, okay, now let's create a second event where we can get down to the business of working together. I think rather than I think the kind of synergy between us and the in the Chamber of Commerce might be that the Chamber of Commerce takes fees and goes and tries to help promote Kernville and the Valley, whereas what Kernville Cowork is doing is working directly with these companies and helping them to promote themselves and to upgrade their their own style. So rather than here, I'm going to hand this to you for you, like rather than them saying, okay, here Kernville Cowork, you help us, you go advertise for us, you go bring in customers. It's going to be like, okay, well, the Chamber does a good job of doing their advertising and what they do to bring in people. But what we're about is a community of people helping each other to level up their game and to be more attractive.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's the angle.
Yeah, I like that too. I mean, there's a lot of value to be provided all around. I think, just knowing you being the skilled entrepreneur that you are, I hate to suggest putting more load on you because maybe there's someone else in the community that can do it. But I feel like you could sit down and workshop with these people and just really provide a lot of value, helping them get a lot of basics around their marketing, around their websites, around just being savvy about what's going on with technology these days. You could probably kill it just doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as I'm thinking about it, we have a great contact with somebody who works closely in marketing with Mammoth Lakes, which is another very tourism-heavy community in Northern California. They're more their tourism is based around skiing and kind of a higher-end clientele too. But she could be a great ally to come down here and kind of help lead those workshops as well, because that's kind of what she does. And she's expressed interest. She has a heart and passion for this area as well, and so I think that might be a good way to do that.
I like that. Yeah, that's good. Okay, cool. What else in terms of ways that you're engaging people now? Do you have any kind of other like super lightweight kinds of engagements, like a happy hour type thing or interest meeting or anything like that?
No, not yet. We've got a meetup, but in this area, there's not a lot of engagement on meetup.com. So we need to work on Facebook. I kind of despise Facebook and I try to stay away from it, but that might end up being a necessity. I
had a horrible realization like yesterday, I think, because I have strong feelings about Meetup's recent acquisition by WeWork. And so then I was thinking like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do stuff with Meetup anymore because I don't want to support WeWork. And then I realized that all that means is that then I end up doing my work with Facebook instead, and I don't know that that's necessarily any better, in terms of like my moral, my stand on the companies that I want to support. Not that any of these companies are the worst in the world, although it depends on who you ask. But it's just like, well, like how fundamentalist do I want to get? Because eventually I just end up, going down the path of, well, I'm going to make my own open source platform, and
yeah, right, yeah,
starts to get messy.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So that I think driving engagement is something we've been very light on the last few weeks as we've been trying to just get this space ready. So pulling long days, just trying to get everything assembled and put together. But yeah, I think that's going to be the next step. The brewery up the street, they've been very, they're offering, hey, let us know what you're doing. We'll bring beer.
Mm-hmm.
they'll bring all of their thousands and thousands of Facebook and Twitter followers and all that. So um, I think we're in a good place to start doing that. I think now that we've gotten past the whiskey flats rush, I think we can kind of slow down and start kind of being more strategic about those things.
Right. Right. Okay, good. Yeah, because honestly, like, I'm not even concerned about Meetup and Facebook and all those things. It's really about creating continuity amongst a small but growing group of people. Um, so, if you've got whatever number of people that you've got within your reach right now, there should be an opportunity to foster a core of people who are regularly meeting, either to co-work on a specific day and time of the week where there's a sense of, oh, we're going to meet, we're going to all go around the table and say what our goals or intentions are, and then we're going to start the clock, and we have like the little powwow sesh, or happy hour. Hey, we're meeting for beers and we're going to celebrate. We're going to toast our accomplishments for the week. Everybody go around and we'll toast you for whatever you achieved this week. So like whatever that is, whether it's 5 people or 10 people, just establishing this is a thing we do.
Sorry about that.
All good. I know. Hey, you're running the co-working space. I know that feels. So, just saying like, hey, this is what we do every week. There's a tradition. The people who do it love it. And then, those people feel emotionally invested in helping to grow it with you. Does that sound like something you have the bandwidth to start to commit to?
Yeah. I think that's. I think we're about ready to start doing that.
I would say that like the thing that will make me feel good. If you and I. Oh, sorry.
Yes, I got you.
Okay. Yeah, you cut out on my end for a second, so I think I started stepping on you. What were you saying?
Nope. I was just listening.
Okay. So I think like if we checked in a month, for example, and I said like, hey, Justin, how's it been the last month? If you told me it's been great, we've had the first 2 weekly meetings of the sprint to the finish line, and then beer celebration Friday, co-work and whatever happy hour sesh. We had 5 people show up to the first one. We had 8 people show up to the second one, and they're super excited. Like I'd feel so good about the trajectory of everything that would happen from then onward. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like really simple and straightforward and actionable.
Okay. All right. Yeah. That's a good way to kind of put a box around it. Yeah. I think that would be helpful. Yeah. I'm gonna take that as kind of my my call to action.
Yes, I would like that. And I'm trying to keep it open-ended enough that you can kind of decide what that is, because I think it basically boils down to co-work or like drink, and it could be some other thing too. But why don't you like shoot me a message, just let me know, what your ideas or what your thoughts are, and let's settle on something and get you something scheduled.
Sounds good.
Awesome. I love it. Okay, cool. Any other kind of like random things you want to talk about while we're here?
Not really. I think you were saying you wanted to see how I built the sign.
Oh yes. Okay. Okay. Hang on. Okay. Just sending a message to my friend to let her know I'm almost done. Yes. So how did the sandwich board happen? Give me the 2-minute story here.
Well, I mean, I was trying to get everything ready for the Whiskey Flats days, and I was just like kind of falling apart trying to get all the different pieces put together. And I had a friend come over and was kind of working out of the space, and he's like, so what are you going to do with signs? I'm like, yeah, I kind of, did the eye roll. Yeah, I got to get to that. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do anything by this weekend. He's like, okay, I know the guy over at the printing place. Do you want me to just do that for you? I'm like, yeah, here's the logo. So he went and he printed a banner that we just stretched over to T-posts in the front, and then printed this sign, the sandwich sign, on. It's kind of like cardboard, but it's plastic. I don't know if you've seen that before, but it's got like the perforation.
Yeah, that's great because it's kind of like a little bit weather resistant and pretty like super lightweight and versatile. Probably not too expensive, right?
Yeah, it's not too bad. So so I was like, while the opening parade was happening, I was building this thing out of plywood and two by twos, and so it's double sided, so we can put it on the boulevard and say free co-work, and the arrows actually both point towards the direction that we wanted to go to. So
it's important.
Yeah, and then I'm going to try walking outside, and let's see if we can get far enough to see the banner that we also printed out that same day.
Some awesome craftsmanship, man.
And so we've got. Are you still with me?
Yeah, still with you.
So we've got the sign there.
Awesome.
We just stretched it across them, and so that was like I was putting that up the night before the event, just hot off the presses. So it was pretty cool. One of those things I'm not always good at is asking for help. So it was cool to have a member of the cohort be like, "Hey, let me help you out here."
I am such a fan of making good use of when we have, like storefront space or window space, like just raising awareness. Like I still get chills when I see the word co-working in a public space, like just in a window or on a sign or something, just to see it in public, to know that anybody who walks by there or drives by there sees the word co-working. And then they're just like, what is that thing? What's this co-working thing? So I'm glad you're making good use of it. That's great.
Yeah, and we're gonna put a big sign on the roof. The roof has a significant slope, and so you can see it from. And we're up on a hill, so if I put a big sign on the roof, basically it's just like a giant billboard pointing towards the main road, the main boulevard. So we should get a decent amount of visibility from that.
Awesome. Okay, you've got your homework. I'm very excited for it, and congrats on a great weekend and on your signage and all that. And please update me, in the next week or so with your thoughts on what the next program is going to be.
Sounds good. All right. Thanks, Tony.
Yeah, it's been good chatting with you, Justin. We'll talk more soon.
Absolutely.
All right. Take care. Bye.